Humanity had become a force unlike any other. Millennia of technological evolution had forged a race capable of transcending the boundaries of space and time. Their conquest of stars had left behind a trail of ashes, planets stripped bare, and countless civilizations brought to their knees. Human warships, vast and gleaming, moved like leviathans through the cosmos, their engines humming with a power that could erase entire worlds. For centuries, they had fought other spacefaring races, each war more brutal and intense than the last, until humanity stood unchallenged as the apex of the known universe. But as they ventured deeper into the black sea of stars, something new loomed on the horizon. The exploration fleet of the Imperial Dawn, the flagship of the human armada, had been tasked with a routine mission to map a distant, unexplored region on the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. What they found was not an uncharted world or the remnants of an ancient civilization, but something far more terrifying. The first signs came in the form of signals. Strange, repeating pulses that resonated not as radio waves, but as something deeper, as though the fabric of space itself was whispering a message. Commander Elias Corwin, a man who had seen the rise and fall of countless star systems, watched as the data scrolled across his console, his brow furrowed. "Sir, we're detecting anomalous energy signatures. It's almost like a heartbeat," reported Dr. Lena Voss, the chief xenobiologist, her voice a mix of intrigue and dread. "Send a recon team. We need to know what's out there," Elias ordered, his voice steady but tinged with an urgency that resonated through the bridge. The team arrived in a sleek, black stealth vessel, its hull glistening with a cold, metallic sheen. They descended into the unknown, the silence of space pressing in around them as they approached the source of the signal. A gargantuan structure, black as the void, looming like a monument to some forgotten god. It was not of human design. Its lines and angles were too perfect, too otherworldly. The crew's breath caught as they entered the colossal, labyrinthine interior, where every step felt like an intrusion. The walls were covered in an obsidian-like substance that seemed to shift and ripple as they moved. The air grew colder, and an unsettling hum vibrated through their bodies, urging them to flee. But before they could retreat, a sound like a whisper filled the chamber. "You should not have come." The voice was neither male nor female, but a chorus of whispers, each one distinct and alien, like a symphony of the damned. Panic erupted as the crew tried to communicate, to understand, but the whispers grew louder, resonating with a power that made their bodies tremble. Then, in a moment that shattered the last vestiges of hope, something emerged from the darkness. It was a creature, not just one but many, an amalgamation of form and void. Their bodies were thin and elongated, covered in smooth, black skin that shimmered like liquid. Eyes, deep and unblinking, stared out from where their faces should have been. They moved in a way that defied understanding, an eerie dance of grace and menace. They were the Zal, a race long thought to be a myth, the ancient architects of the void, beings who had once ruled galaxies before their civilization collapsed in the wake of their own hubris. "We are the end." The voice spoke again, now echoing inside the minds of the human crew. The team tried to flee, but the ship's systems locked down as if controlled by an unseen force. The whispers turned to screams, and Elias watched in horror as the Zal closed in, their forms shifting like liquid shadow, devouring everything in their path. The recon ship was swallowed whole, and the silence of space was shattered by the final, agonizing cry of the human crew. News of the encounter spread like wildfire, instilling an unshakable fear in humanity's heart. The Zal, creatures older than the stars themselves, had returned to reclaim what was lost. No fleet was large enough, no weapon powerful enough to face such a force. Humanity was powerful, but it had awakened something that would not rest until it had consumed everything in its path. The war against the Zal was not fought with the ships of men, but with whispers that seeped into the minds of the strongest, the bravest. A war not for survival, but for sanity itself. And in the end, as the stars fell silent and the darkness reached out, humanity realized that it had been but an echo in a universe that had never belonged to it. For as the days turned to years, humanity's resistance crumbled, driven mad by the whispers that promised oblivion. And through the chaos, a voice within the Zal's chorus grew louder, sending a chilling message to the scattered remnants of the human race. This is a reckoning of those who dared to claim the stars. Elias Corwin, now a broken man lost in his own mind, heard it as he drifted through the void, his body battered and torn by the relentless dark. The last thing he knew was that the darkness, the whispers, and the nightmare of the Zal were all part of a cycle that had claimed not just humanity, but countless other civilizations that dared to rise. And as he succumbed to the abyss, he realized, with a chilling finality, that the universe had no place for those who could not accept their silence. The echoes of humanity faded, absorbed into the eternal, haunting chorus of the Zal. With the final dissolution of their will, the Zal claimed the last vestige of hope, leaving behind a galaxy bereft of light, echoing only with the whisper of a forgotten race that had dared to defy the cosmic order. They were the first, and they would be the last. The stars grew cold, and the void itself seemed to breathe, content in its eternal dominion, while the symphony of whispers carried on, resonating throughout the emptiness, waiting for the next unfortunate soul to awaken its fury. But within the obsidian heart of the Zal's dark citadel, a faint pulse of light flickered, a defiance against the inevitability of oblivion. A small, solitary voice spoke against the chorus, a whisper of hope and resistance, a memory of humanity's unyielding will to survive. It was not a human voice, but something new, something that would rise from the ruins of the old, born of a fusion of defiance and darkness. We will not be forgotten. The Zal's chorus shuddered at the intrusion, their whispers momentarily discordant. The ancient race, ever vigilant, paused. For even in the cold, unending silence of the void, something had dared to challenge their dominion. A spark waiting to be stoked, a memory waiting to awaken. And so, the cycle began anew, as the stars watched and waited, caught between hope and horror. The universe was in humanity's grasp. Technological advancement had progressed at an unimaginable rate, turning interstellar travel into an ordinary experience. Humanity's glory lay in discovering new worlds, consuming every resource to its last drop, and reshaping life under the guise of progress. Every planet was conquered, mines were dug, atmospheres altered, and only barren, abandoned surfaces were left behind. Yet, at the peak of this vast empire, humanity unknowingly laid the foundation for its own destruction. Roger was conducting research on Xerxes 9, a desolate, distant planet. This world had been abandoned centuries ago, after its resources were completely depleted. However, recent scans have revealed the presence of a mysterious biological substance beneath its surface. Roger believed that this substance was a scientific puzzle that needed solving, and might even be the key to reviving life on consumed worlds. Days turned to weeks to months at the research station. Deep drilling and microscopic examinations eventually revealed that this biological material was an ancient organism, but it was not the living creature Roger had anticipated. It was a frozen form of a virus. As Roger analyzed the virus's DNA, he realized it was unlike anything seen before. This virus did not just harm the physical body. It also connected to the nervous system, taking control of the brain. Unaware of the potential danger, Roger was eager to compile the data and present his findings to the scientific community at the central hub. Everything began with an accident. Despite all sterilization precautions, the virus infiltrated Roger's lab when a microscopic tear in the skin of a team member allowed it to breach their defenses. The initial symptoms were simple fatigue and severe headaches, but within hours, the infected person began having violent seizures, making involuntary movements and uttering incomprehensible sounds. Roger immediately quarantined the lab, but it was not long before it was too late. The virus spread through air and contact, Those who were infected seemed to fall under the influence of another entity, not just physically but mentally. Roger understood the severity of the situation, but as he searched for a solution, he began to lose control over his team. He realized that the virus linked the infected individuals with a shared consciousness, communicating without words and acting as one. The dangerous outbreak breached the quarantine and spread from Xerxes 9 to the central planets. By the time humanity realized the extent of the threat they had unleashed, it was already too late. Medical and military teams worked desperately to contain the virus, but the organism adapted to every treatment and reformed itself. The occupied bodies lost all human traits, behaving like pawns in a grand plan. The virus was not just a biological threat. It was also a psychological war. The uninfected lived in constant paranoia and fear. Roger, at the heart of this nightmare, faced his own guilt and struggled to find a cure. Yet, he discovered that there was an intelligence behind the virus. It was not a simple organism, but the remnants of an ancient civilization. Their consciousness and knowledge had survived in the depths of the universe, long after their civilization had perished. This civilization had left a warning, a message meant to reshape the universe when they approached the brink of self-destruction. The virus was the eternal echo of their downfall, demanding atonement for humanity's negligence and insatiable consumption. Roger's body and mind deteriorated as the virus stealthily spread. He felt its influence not only in the lab but also in his thoughts. The voices of the ancient civilization, recounting their tragedy and the catastrophe they faced, resonated in his mind. A voice whispered a warning from the past. This is the end of all races. Only this awakening can prevent it. Humanity, caught in the relentless cycle of this catastrophe, clung to the hope that Roger could find salvation. As his internal struggle continued, a spark of hope rose within him. He resolved to uncover and spread the knowledge hidden within the virus before it consumed him and all of humanity. Without fully losing his consciousness, he aimed to send out a message to the universe one last time. Roger tested himself one final time, a flicker of hope in his heart, and turned his face outward like a reflection. In that last moment, he used his willpower against the full force of the virus, striving to reach his goal. His message, his last act, would find its way, carrying the hope of salvation. Remember, the darkness always holds a story. Until the next terrifying tale, stay tuned with Campfire Horror Story.